So good morning students. So last class we have discussed various types of electrical converters. So mainly we have discussed regarding AC to AC converters and DC to DC converters, and apart from that we have also discussed about the general torque equations or fundamental torque equations, and the next part we have discussed how to select a specific motors for a specific applications, or how the AC motors or DC motors can be selected for electrical drive systems. So we have seen several factors are associated with the selection of the motors, just like your steady state stability, transient stability, and your availability of the power supply, then capital cost, reliability, and so many other factors are there, just like your environment conditions and your size and space of area where the machines are going to be installed. So depending upon all the parameters, all the factors, we have to select the motors, whether it may be your AC motors or DC motors. And basically the rating of the motors are generally selected by depending upon its transient operations, because in transient operations, as the voltage value is decreasing and current value is increasing, so that's why during the selection of the rating of the motors, we should go for the transient applications. How much the motor is associated with the transient applications, that we need to realize, then only the motor selection can be perfect. Okay. And last class some question came from our student side, that why the induction motors or AC motors are robust. So as we have discussed in last class, all the machines are not robust. If you will go through the all type of AC motors, then all are not robust. Basically the induction machines, those were highly used, or it is frequently used in machine or industries for your drive system as compared to the DC motors. In that particular case, induction motors are more prominent and more robust than your DC motors. Then why it is robust? Why induction machine is robust? Because if you will go for the constructions, so construction wise, induction motors are more stronger than your DC motor, just because of its field and armature windings. Why? Because as we know, all the induction motors are based on the principle of induction. So induction means the field or the current which is flowing through the primary winding, it should be linked with the secondary winding or another winding, for which one force will develop to rotate the motors. So that's why the field structure of the induction motors and the armature structure of the induction motors, it should be very accurate, very precise, and the air gap should be very much accurate as compared to your DC motors. So that's why it is much more robust or healthier. So the main meaning of the term robust is, it is more stronger and healthier than your DC motors, right? I think your doubt is clear. Now we will switch to the today's lecture. So today we shall discuss about the speed torque conversion and multi quadrant operation. So it is the part which is again coming under your dynamics of electrical drives, right? So what do you mean by speed torque conventions and your multi quadrant operations? So speed torque convention means during the multi quadrant operation, how the speed and torque is varying, whether it is positive or it is negative, that we have to realize. Okay. So, to realize all these things, we shall discuss about the quadrant of operations, right. So, as it is 4 quadrant operation, so there are 4 quadrant. This is quadrant number 1, this is 2, this is 3 and this is 4. Basically the first quadrant operation is generally known as forward motoring in case of your drive system, and second mode or quadrant is known as your forward braking, third one is called as your reverse motoring, and fourth one is called as your reverse braking. Now how to remember this one? So all these two upper quadrant, this one and this one, as the forward, it should be considered as the forward. All the upper quadrant are forward and all the down quadrant are reverse. Then why it is motoring, that you can easily remember by seeing one example down the slide, right. So before that we should know what is motoring and what is braking. Now in this one, what is motoring? Motoring means, in motoring the motor converts the electrical to mechanical energy. We know that very well. It may be your one prime mover is connected to the motor, or it may be your diesel engine or petrol engine is connected to the motor, right. So motoring means it will convert electrical to mechanical energy, right, conversion of your electrical to mechanical energy. Okay. Now braking means, in braking the machine converts mechanical energy to your electrical energy and oppose the motion. Okay. So once the motor is rotating and whenever we are trying to stop the motor, that means we have to apply some brake to the mechanical or your mode of rotation. It may be your clockwise rotation, it may be your anti-clockwise rotation. So during the braking, what you need to do? We have to apply some brake to the electrical motors, then only the energy, the mechanical energy or the kinetic energy which is stored in the motor, it will liberate in terms of your heat or any other kind of energy. Now the best part is that in case of your electrical system, we know that only one type of only one type of braking system is available, that is your mechanical brake. So suppose in a vehicle, whenever we want to stop our vehicle, what you need to do? We should apply the brake. Okay. So during the braking, what will happen? So in a vehicle, two brake shoes are there. Two brake shoes are there. It will get connected with the wheel drum, right? So during that time, what will happen? The speed of the motion of this drum will be stopped by these two brake plates. Okay. And during stopping, the kinetic energy which is stored in the wheel, it will be liberated to the atmosphere in terms of your heat and any other form. So basically 95% to 99% of your kinetic energy will be get converted into heat. Okay. Next one, another type of losses are also associated with this, but we will not go through that part because that is not related to your electrical engineering. So mainly the kinetic energy which is stored in the drum of the wheel, that will be converted into heat energy. So this heat is a unutilized heat. It is an unutilized energy. Okay, once the heat is generated, that will get dissipated into the atmosphere. So the kinetic energy which is stored in the wheel, it is now converted to heat, and heat is liberated to atmosphere. So there is no use of this heat. So to convert this kinetic energy or mechanical energy, as it is rotating, so you can say this is called as your mechanical energy. So to convert this mechanical energy to electrical energy, we should go for one technique in electrical drive system. That technique is called as regeneration. Okay. So in regeneration process, the kinetic energy or the mechanical energy stored in the wheel or stored in electrical motors, that will be again converted into electrical energy, right? Again, this conversion is called as your regeneration action. It is called as your regeneration action. Okay. So this part we will discuss in module 3. So basically this conversion term, this regeneration conversion term is associated with the traction drive. Traction drive. Okay, and traction drive is related to the train movement. Okay, so it is the best practical example we are finding every day, how the train is working, how the train should be accelerated, how it can be deaccelerated, how the brakes are applied to the train, and how this braking helpful for the regeneration process. Okay, that will be discussed in module 3. Right. Now switching to the next slide. So in speed torque conversions and in multi-quadrant operation, we should realize what is multi-quadrant operations and how it can be explained. So for better explanation, we should go for the hoist drive. So hoist drive means it is the best example, or you can say this is the lift. The lift which we are using at the mall, shopping malls, or your apartment, or at any industries for the lifting of your heavy material is all are coming under your hoist drive. So first of all, we should realize what is hoist drive. So hoist drive, it consists of one load wounded with one drum. So one drum is there, one load is there. This is my load, and another end of the rope is connected to the counterweight. Okay, so you can consider this as the counterweight, or you can consider this as the counterweight. If it is counterweight, then this should be the carriage. Okay, just like the lift. So in lift, one drum is there, and above the drum one rope is connected. So one end of the rope is connected to the counterweight. Some load, fixed loads are here at the counterweight, and this is your, this end is should be connected to the carriage, where the man or material should be transport or shifted from the lower level to higher level. Okay, so it consists of a load wound on a drum coupled to the motor shaft. So this is, for example, in this figure what we are seeing, one drum is here and it is connected to the shaft of the motor, and one end is connected to the counterweight, and another end is connected to the loaded carriage. Okay. So one end of the rope is tied to the cage, which is used to transport men and materials from one level to another level, and other end of the rope is connected to the counter weight. Okay, it is clear. Now next, so we should take some assumption here. So what are the assumptions? So let us consider the weight. This is not the assumption exactly. We should very clear that in each and every hoist drive or each and every lift, whether it is used in industry, whether it is used in your apartment, whether it is used in your shopping mall nearby to your apartment, it should have a weight or counterweight is having the weight which is always higher than the empty carriage. Let us consider this figure. Okay, so this is the empty carriage. In first figure, it is not the empty carriage, it is loaded carriage. So the condition is that the weight of the counterweight, it should be higher than the empty carriage. Okay, so this is my first condition. Next one, whenever we are taking all these conditions or assumption to realize the hoist drive system and the speed torque conversion for multi-quadrant operations. Okay, so the second condition is that the upward motion, suppose upward motion means when this carriage is generally used for the transportation of man or material or any kind of person. So when man, suppose you are inside this carriage, when you are moving in upward direction, that movement is called as the forward motion. Okay, because why it is forward motion, why not it is reverse motion? Because we know that lifts are generally used for the transportation of your material from one level to another level. So it is quite difficult to transfer the man or material from lower level to higher level, because it is the use of your energy. So whenever we are moving in upward direction, we need to apply some energy. So by the application of energy, as we are doing some useful work here, that means excess amount of energy is used for your upward movement whenever we are moving from the lower to higher. In reverse case, if we are moving from higher to lower, then less amount of energy is used. Okay, so whenever we are moving from lower to higher, we are using more energy. So that's why I am considering this as the forward motion, right? So why the lifts are used? As we are using more energy from whenever we are moving from lower to higher, so that's why lift concept came into the picture. Now using the lift, we are reducing the consumption of your energy, okay, during the movement from lower to higher level. So as our energy is not consumed during the upward movement, so this motion is called as forward motion in your hoist drive, okay, in a hoist drive. So as our energy is not consumed during upward movement and this energy is restricted, or this energy is saved by the hoist drive, that's why the forward movement is called as your the upward movement is called as your forward motion, and it is considered as positive. Now the reverse case, if I am moving in the downward direction, then it is called as your reverse motoring and it is represented as your negative. Okay. So in this figure we need to realize how the total hoist drive system or the lift system works. Okay. Now moving to the next slide. Okay. Again another assumption we should take that when there is a anti-clockwise movement of the motor, if the motor is rotating in anti-clockwise manner, then it should be considered as positive, and when the motor is moving in clockwise manner, then it should be rated as negative. So anti-clockwise means positive and clockwise means it is negative. Okay. So these are the two conditions, anti-clockwise positive, clockwise negative. So these 5 conditions you need to, 4 assumption and one condition is that the counterweight should be higher than the empty carriage, right. Now let us start the 4 quadrant operation, how the lift works. So there are 4 quadrant. In first quadrant what you should do, in first quadrant let us consider this is the winch, this is called as the winch, this is called as the winch or the drum, and above the drum the rope is connected. So it is connected to the counterweight and one end is connected to the loaded carriage. So motor shaft, the dotted part, this dot represents the shaft of the motor and that shaft is connected to the drum, it is a iron drum, and above the iron drum one rope is slided over the iron drum. Okay. So motor is connected here. So this is my motor, motor shaft is connected to the drum. Okay, motor shaft is connected to the drum. So when this drum, as the drum is directly connected to the motor shaft, so motor, if the motor will rotate in anti-clockwise, then the drums will also rotate in anti-clockwise manner, right. So in first case, this is the this is the loaded carriage. When the loaded carriage is moving from lower level to higher level, so loaded carriage is at the lower level now, so we need to transfer this loaded carriage to higher level. So in this case what will happen, the counterweight is not having higher weight than the loaded carriage, because as the condition we have taken that counterweight, it should have a higher weight than the empty carriage, but it should not have the higher weight than the loaded carriage, right. So as it is the loaded carriage, so the counterweight is having less weight than the loaded carriage. Okay. So as the counterweight is less weight and loaded carriage is higher weight, so what to do, to transfer this carriage from lower level to higher level, we need to start this motor, right. So as the motor started to drive this load in upward direction, we need to start the motor or run the motor in anti-clockwise. Okay. So that's why here the angular momentum is shown as anti-clockwise. So angular momentum is anti-clockwise, that means motor torque, T, capital T is the motor torque, you can also write this as Tm, it is also in anti-clockwise manner, right. But what about the load torque, as the loaded carriage is having more weight than the counterweight, so load torque will apply in the downward direction, but we need to transfer this carriage in upward direction, so the motor torque should be opposite to the load torque. So that's why this is my motor torque direction, whereas this is my load torque direction. Clear? Okay. Now when this movement or motor movement, torque movement is anticlockwise, it should be positive. So, it is given here. As the angular momentum is also anticlockwise, it is also positive. So, what is the power? Power is equal to T into omega m, torque into the angular momentum. So, it is positive into positive. So, overall product is positive, right. So, as T is positive, omega m is also positive. So, P is equal to positive into positive, that is P is equal to T into omega m. So, positive into positive is equal to positive. So, here we are doing one positive work. In this region, what we are doing? We are doing some positive work, right. Now, moving to the next one. In the second case, in quadrant 2, what we should do? As it is again forward, it is the forward motion. Forward means we need to go from the lower level to the higher level. As we have seen, the upper two quadrant, this quadrant and this quadrant is called as your forward, and lower are called as the reverse. So, forward means we need to transfer the carriage from lower to upper side. Okay. So, in first case, what we have seen, the loaded carriage moving in upward direction just because of forward motion. Here the empty carriage, one condition will happen when the empty carriage, suppose you are standing at second floor and you want to transfer, you want to shift it from second floor to third floor, okay, but the lift is at the first floor. So, you have to press the switch at the second floor, then the lift will transfer from first floor to second floor, then you will be shifted from second floor to your desired floor. It may be your third floor, it may be your again first floor. Okay. So, as the lift is at the down floor or the first floor and the person is at the second floor, then this empty carriage, and there is no person inside the empty carriage, the empty carriage will move in upward direction. It is called as the forward motion. So, first case it is loaded carriage is moving in upward direction, in second case it is the empty carriage is moving in upward direction. So, in this case, as we know, the counterweight is having higher weight than the empty carriage. So, for this case, this counterweight will automatically attract this empty carriage because there is no person inside this empty carriage. So, if we will not break this system because the counterweight is having higher weight than the empty carriage. So, if I will freely move this system, then this empty carriage will stop at the upper level. Okay. So, this empty carriage will move in upward direction and it will slap at the floor, top floor. Okay. So, to avoid this situation, what you need to do? We have to apply the motor torque in counter to this counterweight. So, load, now this is acting as the load. So, load torque direction is in this way. This is my load torque direction TL. So, to stop this free movement of your empty carriage from down floor to upper floor, we need to apply this motor torque in clockwise manner. Okay. But our objective is to move from down floor to up floor. So, the angular moment of this carriage is in this way. Okay, right. As we are moving from down floor, as the empty carriage is moving from the down floor to the up floor, the angular momentum is in this way, but we are applying the motor torque opposite to the load torque. Okay. So, in first case, both the motor torques as well as the angular momentums are in anti-clockwise manner, but in second case the angular momentum is in anti-clockwise, but the load torque is clockwise, just because to avoid this load torque, to stop this lift at the upper end, right. So, in that case, what will happen? This angular momentum as it is anti-clockwise, so angular momentum is considered as positive, okay, and load torque as it is clockwise, so it is considered as negative. So again the power is equal to T into omega, so T is negative into omega is positive, so the overall product is negative, okay. So here the total power consumption, here the total power consumption is negative, right. Next, in the third case, what will happen? In third quadrant, the empty carriage, now this empty carriage will move in downward direction because it is the reverse case. In first two cases it is your forward as it is moving in upward direction, but in third case and fourth case both the empty carriage, first in third quadrant the empty carriage will move from top floor to down floor, and in fourth quadrant the loaded carriage will move from top floor to down floor. So both the cases it is called as the reverse, okay. So in this case in third quadrant what will happen, as the empty carriage is having less weight than the counter weight, so we need to travel to transfer this empty carriage from upper floor to down floor, we should apply the motor torque favorable to the empty carriage. As the load torque is in this way, so it will always attract the empty carriage in upward direction because the load torque is having higher weight than the empty carriage. But our objective, our perspective is to transfer the empty carriage from upper floor to down floor, right. So we should apply the motor torque in clockwise manner, and our objective is to transfer this empty carriage from upper floor to down floor. So that's why the angular momentum is also in the direction of your load torque, that is also clockwise. So in both the cases the load torque, in this case the motor torque as well as the angular momentums are clockwise, okay. So as it is both are clockwise, so omega m is negative and T is also, that is your motor torque, omega m is negative and motor torque is also negative, okay, whereas the load torque is positive here, where the load torque is positive because it is in anti-clockwise manner, because the load torque is having the, or the counter weight is having higher weight than the empty carriage. So the load torque will always attract this empty carriage in upward direction, but our objective is to transfer this empty carriage from upper floor to down floor. So that's why we have to apply the motor torque opposite to this load torque, and the angular momentum is also in the downward direction, that is your clockwise, okay. So both your angular momentum as well as the motor torque is negative, okay. Now coming to the next quadrant, that is your final quadrant, that is fourth quadrant. In fourth quadrant what we are seeing here, the loaded carriage, here the empty carriage, here the loaded carriage is moving in downward directions, okay. So now as the counterweight, as it is loaded, this carriage is loaded, this counterweight is having less weight than the loaded cage, okay. So as the loaded cage is having higher weight, so again the same condition will happen. If I will freely move this system, then this carriage will stuck to the down floor, okay. So there is a free movement. If I will not oppose this movement of your empty carriage, suddenly this lift will comes to the down floor and it will be, there is an accident, okay. So to avoid this problem, what you need to do, we need to apply the motor torque opposite to this opposite to this loaded carriage movement. So as the loaded carriage is having higher weight, the load torque is in this way, okay, whereas the motor torque should be applied to the opposite to this load torque. So as the motor torque is anti-clockwise here, so it is positive, and as the carriage is moving from upper floor to down floor, so it is clockwise. So omega m is equal to negative. So it is omega m is negative. Okay. So right, so the power which is, so power is equal to torque into your omega m. So torque is here anti-clockwise, that means positive, and omega m is clockwise, so it is negative. So the total power is negative, right. So in the first quadrant what we have seen, power is positive. In second quadrant power is negative. In third quadrant power is positive. In fourth quadrant power is negative. So when power is positive, that means we are utilizing the power to drive the system. Okay. So in first quadrant and third quadrant, power is being utilized by the system, by both the system. But in third quadrant, in second quadrant and fourth quadrant, as the power value is negative here, in your second quadrant is power is negative, here, as it is negative here, and in this also power is negative. That means we are generating the power, that means we are generating some energy, we are converting the kinetic energy to electrical energy. Okay. So positive power means we are utilizing the power, negative power means we are generating the power. So during these two quadrant of operation, whatever the power, negative power we are getting, that power is called as your regenerated power. That means this process is called as your regeneration process. Okay. So the kinetic energy which is stored, or the energy, it may be your kinetic energy due to this loaded carriage, or kinetic energy due to this counterweight, it is again converted into the negative power, which is called as your regenerated power. Okay. It is called as your regenerated power. Again in the next slide, so this slide describes the mode of operation of first quadrant, second quadrant, and in next slide also you will find the mode of operation of your third quadrant and fourth quadrant. What I have told, all these things are described here. And in next slide, this is the new topic, that is your equivalent value of your drive parameters. So next class we will discuss about the equivalent values of your drive parameters. So before that I want to show one thing. So there are two types of motor in electrical drive system. It may be a rotational system or it may be a translational system. So what do you mean by rotational? Suppose the motor is rotating in this way, it may be your clockwise or anti-clockwise, then it is called as your rotational movement. Okay. And if the system, just like your, if I will drive the system from by using some lever arrangement, if I will drive some system in upward direction, in up direction and down direction, this type of movement is called as your translational motion. This type of motion is called as your translational motion. So next class we shall discuss about the rotational motion as well as the translational motion. Okay. So thank you all.